ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்யபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்மவ்யாமோஹதஸ்ததிதராணி திருணாயமேனே अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। नमः सदसे नमः सभायै। With the abundant blessings of Paramatma Shriyapati, we have gathered on day 2. This is a set of 4 lectures that have been organized. Day 1 was yesterday. Today is day 2. At the outset, I would like to extend my Kritagnyata to the 3 entities, Adhyatma Vikasa Vedike, Lions Club and Aradhana Talks, for putting this up together in RV College. Second, all the sponsors who have been interested in this dharmic approach of sponsoring discourses, and to the all of you for being present for this long. I would like to also thank Sandhya, who is many decades senior to me in college in Pilani, and she was there in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East for at least 2-3 decades. She is like a Nostradamus. She knew the strait will be closed, so she shifted base to Bangalore. So that's also one of the skills, to foresee of the 64. So that said, there was some context that was laid to the topic, and there was a little bit of a revision that happened. The first set of 16 kalas, 1-6, out of the 64, the first 16 are those that are related to intellectual arts. This is how I have grouped them. Not that this grouping is found in our Vyakhyanas, but somehow I had to put them, having been into the corporate, the Six Sigma, we are used to that bucketing. So I have to bucket them. So we have the first 16 kalas into the first bucket called intellectual arts. The first kala was kavyam. Vakyam rasatmakam kavyam doshastasya pakarshakaha utkarsha hetavaha prokta gunalankara ritayaha. That art that conforms itself to certain patterns like simile, metaphor, onomatopoeia, alliteration, chandas, the meter, and then also resorts to understanding the emotion and presents it in a very beautiful way, is poetry, that is kavyam. So the 64 arts that we have tried to understand, in a very superficial manner, I have mentioned that 4 places that I know of speak about the 64 arts. First was Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana that talks about Krishna, who learned under Sandipani in Avantika, who was originally from Kashi, the 64 arts in 64 dates and corresponding 64 nights. Narayana Bhattatri summarizes this portion of Srimad Bhagavatam in Narayaniyam, Gatva Sandipanim Ata Chatushashti Ratrim Ahobihi Sarvajnastvam Sahamusalina Sarvavidya Grihitva Putram Nashtam Yamanilayanad Ahritam Dakshinartham Datva Tasmai Nijapuramagat Nadayan Panchajanyam, says Bhattatri Narayaniyam. 64 arts were mastered, rather, it was a revision for Krishna and Balarama. First reference. Second, in the Brahmanda Purana Antargata Lilita Sahasranamam, there is a name Chatushashti Kalamai, the one who is the personification of 64 arts. Third, Kamban, who reveres Saraswati, says Ayakkalegal Nanginayum. He clearly mentions that she is the one who bestows her blessings for us to master the 64 arts. Finally comes Tyagaraja Swami, who says, yes, 64 arts are to be learned, 64 arts are to be practiced, but also remember the Purva Janma karma in you is not going to help you in this process. Rather, the 64 arts may be your duty, but it is also your duty to understand that karma will take on you. Kalala nerchina munu jesinadi gakavemi aravai nalugu kalala nerchina, he says. So then we went to the first kavyam. There we understood Shakuntalam of Kalidasa, Kavyeshu Natakam Ramyam Tasya Ramya Shakuntala. Some of you didn't come yesterday. I'm just asking for a count. Don't feel otherwise. How many of you didn't come? So this is a revision for you. You then have to revise well. Okay, so the second is Prahelika. Prahelika is a puzzle, riddle. We spoke about three aspects: Nayana, Amra, and Narikela. We brought all three of them together in the fourth riddle, which was, it spoke about Mrityunjaya. So it says that the first two letters of Shiva's Nama is an enemy. Viraja Raja Putrarehe Yannama Chaturaksharam Purvardham Tava Vairinam Parardham Tava Sangare. So this is the riddle. So it says that the one who is the enemy to the son of the Lord of birds, who is Shiva, his name has four letters. The first half is an enemy to all of us, which is Mrityu. The second half is what people expect from a war, which is victory, Jaya, Mrityunjaya. So that Mrityunjaya we understood, then connected it with the eye of Horus, and then led it to RX, to the Vaidya who is found in every hospital here, who tells us RX. So that was the second part, Prahelika. Vyakti Kritta Kamapyartham Swaruparthasya Gopanat Yatra Bhakhyantaravarthau Kathyete Sa Prahelika. Then we saw the art of poetry itself, which is like Antyakshari. The last akshara or pada becomes the start of the next, which became very popular, especially in the Tamil tradition in the last 2000 years, where we have Mudal Tiruvandadi, Irandam Tiruvandadi, Moondram Tiruvandadi, Nanmugan Tiruvandadi, Periya Tiruvandadi, Ramanusha Nutrandadi, Deshika Nutrandadi, Sadagopar Andadi, and Abhirami Andadi. So many Andadis we have in the Tamil tradition, which is Pratimala. Pratishlokam Kamadyatra Sandhayaksharam Antimam Pathetam Shlokamanyonyam Pratimaleti Sochyate. Next came the most interesting of all, which is the tongue twister. Kari diguchu makari sarasiki kari darikini makari diguchu karakari berayan kari makariki kari bhara manujun atala kutala bhatula rudupadan, says Potana. Similarly, we have for every language, tarikere kere mele eri muru kari mari mari. We have got in Kannada as well, right? Every bhasha. Khadakne se khadakta hai khadak singh ke khadakse se khadakti hai khidkiyan. So you've got everything. You've got, in every language, you've got these tongue twisters. It is called Durvachaka Yogaha. Very tough for the tongue. Now, see, the beauty is, it is tough for the tongue. That is why we have to practice. Some people in every language, they will ensure that if there are certain aksharas that trouble your tongue, they will escape that akshara. I'm telling, even in musicians, I won't name, if they get the tough akshara there, they will just try to overcome that with the technicality in music. In the Tamil news channel also, they will surely escape the ra and la. They know it is very tough. Very beautifully they'll escape that. Indru malai peidadu. See, Durvachaka Yogaha is that. So he says, Ucharane klesha kritik jnanam sahi kala smrita. You have to remember what causes impediments while you speak. That should become the letter. That is called Durvachaka Yogaha, tongue twister. Fifth, Akshara Mushtika Kathanam. Akshara, that aksharam, that letter, Mushtika Kathanam. So you use expressions, which has become a game now. Dumb charades, we say, right? So that is the fifth kala. Sixth, Mlechita Vikalpaha. The example, beautiful example that we have in our itihasas is of Vidura telling the Pandavas that you shall be dying soon. But the beauty is when Vidura said this to Yudhishthira in the presence of Kunti and the Pandavas and the Dhartarashtras, none but Dhritarashtra could understand this. That is, Yudhishthira could understand this from Vidura because he was adept in that language of understanding that code. So, when Vidura told Yudhishthira that there will be fire in the palace where you will stay, Yudhishthira did not get perturbed. He said, yes, fine, thank you, thanks for your blessings, and he left. When the brothers inquired what happened, that is when he said, it seems we will die soon. The brothers were startled. They said, you're telling it so coolly. He said, I've learned it from Malayalam movie. See, I once seen a Malayalam movie where the villain comes and tells a very innocent man, Sare, ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെ കൊല്ലും. He does it with such respect and grace, You need to learn. So that is called Mlechita Vikalpaha. That is how you convey something in a very foreign language. The seventh is Abhidhana Koshaha. That is where we spoke about Kapihi. How Bhagavad Ramanuja was able to even correct his teacher. That is very new for us now. Very, very new even then. A student correcting the teacher by giving such a robust and a long explanation. When the teacher said that the eyes of Paramatma should be compared to the back of a monkey, Ramanuja said this is not the way it is to be said, and gave him how the word kapi, ayasa, kapyasa, kapi, kapyasa, ayasa, these are all derived in 3 different formats. Vatsya Varadaguru mentions this in Tattvasaram. So, now somebody wrote to me yesterday on social media, sir, you didn't tell what happened to Ramanuja after that. He gave this explanation. What happened? The teacher planned to kill him. This is there in the Guru Parampara where he thought the best way is to take him to one of the rivers, ask him to bathe in it and then push him inside. So this was the plot that was launched. So lexicography can lead you to even death if you're going to correct someone. Next is Chandogyanam, which is the 8th. When you speak about Kavyam, you cannot escape Chandas. So every part of our poetry will have Chandas. If you take English, there will be a sonnet. If you take Japanese, there will be a haiku. When you speak of Tamil, there will be a Kural Nadai. When you speak of Sanskritam, you will have Gayatri, Trishtipu, Anushtupu. Then you have got Malini, Mandakranta, Harini, Shikharini, Shardula Vikridita, Vasanta Tilaka. These are Sragdhara. These are all meters in Sanskritam. Chandogyanam is especially important. When you sing that Sanskritam verse, you should know when to breathe and when to not breathe. So that will give you the jnanam. Desha Bhasha. Desha Bhasha is about appreciating all languages rather than getting jingoistic, telling only my language is the best, every other language is not good. Rather, spend your time appreciating your language and enhancing your knowledge in the other languages as well. That is very important in Bhakti Sampradaya. Politically, it may be irrelevant because only when there is language war, people can keep fighting. But for Bhakti Samrajya, we should learn a new language. So when I am back the next year, I should have learned another 100 Devarnamas. If you're a Kannada speaking Astika, by the next time you come, you should have learned 10 Tamil Pasurams. If you're a Telugu speaking Astika, see, this is how exchange should happen. That is Desha Bhasha. Then the 10th one was Lipi Karma. How to write. I've told you how this has become like dinosaurs. This has become an extinct species today. We don't even write. But the concept of writing, letters, language has existed even since the Ramayana times. May not be during the Vedic times because Vedas were largely preserved through listening and remembering. Shruti and Smriti. But Ramayana times, we have absolute reference to written letters because Sita says, Rama Namankitam Chedam Datta Devi Anguliyakam. Rama Namankitam. Rama was inscribed because that was a ring gifted by Janaka to Rama on the day of marriage. That is why Kaikeyi did not lay cease to it. It was written beside, you write that 916 hallmark. It was written some Pashupat jewelry or something from Nepal. So it is from Nepal. So it was written Rama on it. But one thing that I'm sure is the Devanagari that we use today is very recent. We do not know how the language was in those days. The pronunciation would have been the same, Rama. But it would have not been written in Devanagari. Some other aksharam, it could have been pre-Indus Valley script. We do not know. That much we are sure. That was 10th, Lipi Karma, about writing and calligraphy. The 11th is Ganitam, which is mathematics. So we are the land of numbers. Everything is numbers here. So we will even confuse the postman with the old number and a new number to the house. So we are extremely good at mathematics. That's Ganitam. 12th is Itihasa Puranani. This was the penultimate art, kala that we were discussing. Itihasa Puranani. Now, this is where I thought I went a bit fast. Itihasa Puranam. When you speak about the Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are itihasas because they were written when that incident happened, when Rama lived. When Rama lived with Sita, when Sita birthed the two sons, Lava and Kusha, Yamevaratrim Shatrughnaha Parnashalam Samavishat, Tamevaratrim Sitapi Prasuta Darakadvayam. When Sita delivered her two sons in Valmiki's ashrama, in the close by room was Shatrughna. So that all this has been recorded. So since Itihasam is so important to us, we need to listen to Ramayana and Mahabharata as much as possible. Puranas are 18 in number, especially Puranas like Bhagavata Mahapurana, Vishnu Purana are frequently recited, delineated upon and quoted. That said, I said Itihasam and Puranam shouldn't stop only with Rama. Then what will happen is, when we write books on the Ramayana, it goes into the mythology section. I am quite flabbergasted at the way even Bharata Desham works today. When I wrote the Ramayana and published it in 2024, I go to the bookstores, they put it in mythology section. This Tipu Sultan is there in history section. I asked, Rama is our history. That bookstore person was not ready to agree with. I just hope he attends a lecture. So, Rama's history to us. Who calls it history? Some of them may ask, sir, you are saying it's a history. It's a Brahminical patriarchal system which says it is history. I am not saying it. Chola Rajas say. So Chola say we come in the Vamsha of Rama. So Chola says we comes in the Vamsha of Rama. Inscription cites that Cholas came in the Vamsha of Rama. There is an Itihasam to prove that Rama gave the Ranganatha Murti to Vibhishana, who established it in Srirangam. We have beautiful sculptures in temples. What more do you want? You cannot get CCTV footages. That is the only thing left. So all our kings have proudly said we have come in the lineage of Rama and Krishna. Many of them. Pandya say we come in the lineage of Chandra Vamsha. Pallava say we come in the Vamsha of Bharadwaja, Drona and Ashwathama. Rashtrakuta say we come in the lineage of... Yesterday I told you about maybe around 710 I told you. Yadavas, I mentioned one person's name. Satyaki, the one who was there on the Pandava side, in their Vamsham come the Rashtrakuta. So that is extremely important for us. Now, I will read out a sample of how a shloka looks on a Pandian copper plate. This is found in a village called Sinnamannur. So if you visit a city, if there are parents and grandparents here, ensure that you take your children to the closest museum. Museum is extremely important. I do not know how many of us spend at least half a day in a museum, take photos of it, make notes of it. Museum visits are extremely important. In Chennai, when people go today, they all visit Marina Beach. If you go to Marina Beach, you have to come home and take bath. Now people are buried there. So you'll have Ashaucham also when you go there. Now, what will you do looking at Marina when you don't know your history? We have to go to the Egmore Museum. You'll get plenty of knowledge about the Cholas and the Pandyas. So this is from a plate called Sinnamannur plate of the Pandyas. I will read out the verse for you, what it seems like. Dashasyam adhika chakrune dishijigaya yo durmadam kurukshetram amarshanam vinihatan dasha akshauhinihi agastyanena yo hyamaravahinim stambhitam ajijana mamushyavai kulamaganya punyam bhuvi. This is what Pandyas say. What does the first line say? Dashasyam adhi chakrune dishi jigaya yo durmadam. Our ancestors called Pandyas were so valorous and so adept in prowess that even Ravana feared them. That is why, if you look at the map of South India, when you go all the way from the coast, Chennai, Sirgari, Chidambaram, Pondicherry, Kadalur, then you go to Vedaranyam and then take a turn and then go towards Rameshwaram, Tirupulani. That is where Setu was constructed. But Ravana never accessed that portion of Tamil Nadu lower than that because Pandyas were ruling it. This is mentioned by Kalidasa in Raghuvamsham. He says Ravana would never cross because he was afraid of the Pandyas. That is why Hanuman took off further south of Kanyakumari to Lanka because that was a safe place. So Dashasyam Adhichakrune Dishijigaya Yodurmadam. Second reference Pandyas give. Kurukshetram Amakarshanam Vinihitan Dasha Akshauhinihi. 11 Akshauhinis were there on Kaurava's side, 7 on the Pandavas side. One part of the army of the Pandavas was supplied by the Pandyas of Madurai. This is mentioned in the Udyoga Parva. So they say we were a part of the Yuddham. Third, Agastya Anenayo Hyamara Vahinim Stambhita. We, our kings, were disciples of Agastya Maharishi. That is why Muthuswami Dikshitar says, Pura Kumbha Sambhava Munivara Prapujitam. Kumbha Sambhava Muni means the one who's born of a pot, who's Agastya. So Agastya Bhasha Desham is that language. So they say we are all followers of this language. Ajijana Damushyavai Kulamaganya Punyam Bhuvi. Now, when the Pandyas helped the Kurus made an investment in South India. See, when two countries meet, they have to exchange investments, right? Kuru people bought a piece of land near Tirunelveli that was called Kuru Bhumi, which was called Kurugur, which became Alvar Tirunagari later. So you exchange notes that way. So this is extremely important of Itihasa Puranani to know that our Rama and Krishna are history. They are not myths. Their parampara continues till day. Suppose we say Vasishtha is myth. Vishwamitra is myth. Then we should stop doing Abhivadai. We mention Kashyapa, but then how can Kashyapa be a myth when we are not myth? So all this is the truth. So that is the 12th Rahasya Kala called as Itihasa Puranani. The 13th one was very interesting. Nimitta Jnanam. Nimitta Jnanam is where you are very conversant and cognizant of the omens around you. If a Pakshi flies, a Pakshi is called Shaku. A parrot is called Shuka. Don't get confused. Shaku. A bird is generally called Shaku. That girl who was abandoned by the mother Menaka and by the father Vishwamitra and was left to Mother Nature for her to protect. Mother Nature sent various birds who spread their wings and protected this little girl baby from the rains and the scorching sun. Since she was protected by the birds, Shakuntaha, she was called Shakuntala. Shaku means bird. When you look at the movement of the birds and then decipher the outcome of an event, then that omen is called Shakunam. Shaku, you see at the birds, right? See, in most Bharatiya Bhashas, Sanskritam, or if you take Hindi, or if you take Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, there is a large influence of Sanskritam. So Shakunam will largely remain Shakunam. But Tamil alone may have a slight hitch because the letters in Tamil do not differentiate between the Alpaksharam and the tougher one. So there's no ka, kha, there's only one ka. And there's no ka and ga difference. So Shakunam becomes Sagunam. Sagunam Batiya. Sagunam in Sanskritam means good gunam. So this is Shakunam. When you look at the animals and see the movement, it is called Nimittam. So Shakunam and Nimittam is extremely important. Today I had my lecture. You're liking it till now? Okay. Now I had to start my lecture. How did it start? The mic did not work. You remember that? Some time back? So whenever you start a yajna, in your house you're doing a havan. And imagine the priest is a priest on much demand, high demand. He gets multiple calls. Shivakumar ji calls. So if somebody calls priest. Now priest says, I have to come. Now when he's uttering the Vedic mantras, he's taking a break and then coming back. That is like an obstacle. So Shastram says when you do a yajna and you stop and you have to return, stop, pause, and then restore. Then you have to invoke Vamana and Trivikrama as a Shastra Vidhi. So when I had to begin the shloka, the mic did not work. I stopped. Then I had to invoke Vamana and Trivikrama and then come back. So these are all small things in Nimittam. When suppose you're about to trip, when you're getting outside the house, you trip. You can drink that glass of water that your mother or grandmother gives. You can sit on a seat there. You can invoke Vamana and Trivikrama. As simple as that. This is Nimitta Jnanam. Now you may ask, sir, isn't all this superstition? Don't believe. See, in our dharma, just because you don't believe, your head will not go away from the body. You don't believe, you don't believe. If you want to believe, you believe. As long as your beliefs do not hurt the other person, even if it is superstition, in my opinion, there is no harm in believing it. If I trip, I drink water and go. Suppose a second person says, you are a PhD in science and you're believing in all of this. By my belief, am I affecting the livelihood of that person? No. So as long as my beliefs do not hurt the existence and the livelihood of the other person, it doesn't matter if it is superstition, blind faith, not blind faith, and so on and so. This is my belief. Again, I'm telling you, if you don't want to believe, don't believe. This is the 13th one. This is where we stopped. So till now, what has happened? Introduction, revision. Now we have to go to the 14th one. God forbid, nobody should go. But imagine you visit a doctor. You visit a doctor. A very experienced doctor will look at you and they will say, something is wrong with you. That's obvious, right? That's not a great prediction. The doctor says something is wrong with you. I wouldn't be present to the doctor to just ask, how are you? Right? If something is wrong, I go there. Then he checks my eyes. He checks my skin. He checks my temperature. If needed, he asks me to undergo examinations of the blood, of the urine, of the feces, so on and so forth. Stool examination, urine examination, blood examination, so on and so forth. This kala, which is very important, one for medicine, for treating the patients, is called Anga Vidya. This is the 14th kala. Angani cha prashamsanti. So one purpose of Anga Vidya is you will understand. One, doctors do that. Even if you have experienced grandmothers and grandfathers at home, while you wake up, they'll say, are you okay? Just looking at you, they will say something is wrong. That is called Anga Vidya. Just by looking at the person, they will say, I think you didn't sleep well. Your eyes are like this. I think, just check your voice. I think your Shruti is not perfect. What did you have yesterday? Right? So all this is extremely important in Anga Vidya. Where else Anga Vidya is used? There is one Shastram called Samudrika Lakshana Shastram. The beautiful Shastram. You can download that from archive.org. They have digitized this book. They will talk about how every part has to ideally be for a very good looking man and a woman. We'll at least read that. There's no harm. Okay. Now you don't have to really get depressed. Go to a therapist. Oh, they say some kind of eyes. It seems eyes should extend till the ears. When will they extend? You're right. I can never give such lectures in China and Japan then. So they will give all such. See, at least we should read. And we should be happy. How are Mahalakshmi's eyes? Yasyam dishi viharate devi drishtistvadiya. When she looks, there will be prosperity. Her eyes are so wide. Generally, people ask, how wide should the eyes be? I give them a simple example. Go to a newly blossomed lotus. It should have just blossomed then. Pluck 2 large petals. Paste it on one's face. It should be as large as that. That's how eyes should be. How should hands be? Ajanubahum Aravinda Dalaya Taksham. When we talk of Rama, Ajanubahum. Janu, we know it is a portion till about the knee. When Rama stands in attention, with his arm resting close to his body, it seems they will be so long that they will go beyond the Janu. That excess is called A. That A is excess. It goes beyond Janu. A Janu Bahum. For the incoming son in law in the house on the previous day to the marriage, the girl's father gives him clothes. Those clothes are meant to cover the son in law's body beyond the Janu. Hence, that event itself is called Janu Vasam, which has become Janavasam. Ajanubahum. If you give him shorts, it is Ajanavasam. It doesn't go beyond Janu, right? It has to be a long trouser, 6 pockets or 8 pockets. Ajanubahum. Janu. So the arms of Rama. Now, see, when I talk of, see, both Rama and Krishna, I speak about both of them. It is a very, very catch-22 big situation for speakers like us. Who is more beautiful? Is Rama or Krishna? When I look at the way Valmiki has described and contrast it with what Vyasa and Shuka have described in Mahabharatam and Bhagavatam, it is a very tough competition. But if you look, this is my experience, at least 15, 20 years of giving lectures on this, right? Krishna is a person, this is again my opinion, from what I've read, some of them will get offended, they will write one long mail to me. Today I was hurt at 5:25 when you spoke. I was hurt. I couldn't sleep the entire night. Sleep well. Okay. Now, this is my experience. I'm telling you, I am mature in my humble opinion. Krishna is a person who you can fall in love with immediately. Because he is that happy-go-lucky man. He'll just charm you. And then, the way he's too much of an extrovert. He will come to the door and, these gentlemanly behaviors after you. They will open the door and say, all this Krishna will do. And then you may lose 1 or 2 bangles. He would have gone and, sold them and got some butter. But the way he charms you is what Krishna. At the first look, you will fall in love with Krishna. Rama, it will take time because, he's not that person who'll come. You need to actually probe him, to speak to him. Shurpanaka had a tough time. So, but when you look at Rama's Angalakshanam, this is Samudrika Lakshana Shastram. I'll tell you. This is a Chola bronze. I'll just show you. Yeah. This is a Chola bronze of Rama. I don't know how visible or how well visible it is. This is the Chola bronze of Rama. Bronzes were made in the following Saturday. I will be talking about metallurgy in India. It's a very interesting topic, how it has evolved, and stone sculptures. So when you look at the way the metal statues have evolved in India, Pallavas had a very big contribution. Indus Valley has had a dancing girl. Pandyas had one contribution. Pallavas had one contribution. Hoysalas had a very interesting contribution. All to metal bronzes, I'm telling you, metal statues. But something that I have always admired is Chola bronzes. You should see the Chola bronzes to feel it. In the metal, they will give you the sign of nerves moving. That is amazing. Look at Rama. The way he stands, his hip, the way he holds, it is perfection. He did not stand as per what is given in Samudrika Lakshana Shastram. He stood and they wrote the Shastram after he stood. Shastram was written after him. The way he stands, so the eyes of Mahalakshmi. The Angalakshanam of Rama, when Hanuman describes this in Sundarakanda, because Sita wants to give lot of security questions to Hanuman to check if he's really come from Kishkinda. So she tells, Katham Uru, Katham Bahu. Tell me about Rama's thighs and Rama's arms. It's such a nasty question. See, Rama wouldn't have said, Hanuman, you're going. Just look at my thighs, huh? Katham Uru, Katham Bahu. Tell me about his thighs and arms. because she wants to know if he has really come. Because if Hanuman has witnessed, he claims that he is the son of Vayu, son of Kesari, student of Surya. He should be able to describe Rama. That is why she says, Katham Uru, Katham Bahu. Tell me about his thighs. Tell me about his arms. What is his height? Hanuman has come in such an important Operation Sita mission. Now she's asking, tell me the weight of Rama, height of Rama. What is this? But this is called Anga Vidya. So when you look at Rama, see, for me, it's a very tough task to move from to the next slide. I can keep looking at Rama through the day, but then I have miles to go before I sleep. The poet says, right? So I have quite a lot to cover. So Anga Vidya is the 14th Vidya, Kala.
परम भागवत मौनि वरस शिवि भाकर सनक सनंदन दीश सुर किम पुरुष कनक कशिपु सुत नारद तुम्बुरु पवन सूनु बाल चंद्रधर शुक सरोज भव भूसुर वरुलु परम पावनुलु घनुलु शाश्वतुलु कमल भव सुखमु सदानुभवुलु गयंदरो महानुभावुलु. As I'm speaking these divine lines of Sri Tyagaraja Swami, I've received the very divine Onavil of Thiruvananthapuram. This is going to be a grand, a mega Natya production titled Endaro Mahanubhavalu, a festoon of the devout. We have chosen the inspiring events from the lives of 14 Acharyas, Mahans, who have trod Bharata Bhumi. Doddacharya, Adishankaracharya, Vedanta Deshika, Muthuswami Dikshita, Potana, Jayadeva, Andal, Mirabai, Kamban, Tirumalizai Piran, Bhadrachala, Ramadasu, Goswami, Tulasidasa, Purandaradasa and Tukara. We have strung it together into a beautiful dance production that is primarily Bharatanatyam based with movements of Odissi, Ghumar and Mohiniyattam, which is going to be multilingual as well, with lines chosen from Sanskritam, Marathi, Brajbhasha, Rajasthani, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, so many languages put together. I've had the opportunity to work with dancers, Natya gurus of great repertoire in the last 15 years. This is an opportunity for me to have curated the production, to have done the storyboard and narrate the production in English. The choreography is by the very famous revered Kalaimamani Srimati Anita Guha. The music is by the great-grandson of Subramanya Bharati, a Sangeet Natak Academy awardee, Dr. Rajkumar Bharati. And the soundscape design is by Sri Sai Shravanam, one of the contributing engineers to the award-winning Life of Pi movie. We have all come together to present this grand production Endaro Mahanubhavalu in your city. On the 26th and on the 27th of September at the Prestige Center of Performing Arts in Bengaluru, we are presenting this production. On the 3rd and the 4th of October, we are doing it at the Naradagana Sabha in Chennai. On the 1st of November, we are doing it at the Fine Arts Society, Chembur in Mumbai. And on the 29th of November at Kamani Auditorium in Delhi. Tickets are flying off the shelves. Please be present, buy your tickets and be with your family to watch this, I would say, once in a lifetime event. We are extremely thankful to the title sponsor, to the event sponsor, to the associate sponsors and to those hands who have supported us. To the all of you, thank you. To the all of you, Vandanamulu, please be present. Namaskar.
15th one. Some of you attended yesterday, and those of you may be attending today as well. A lot of you could not have come yesterday, but you have come today. Whichever is the case, next week you have all assured that you will come both the days. Now, what is that you need to carry for the next week? Book, pen, translated. So you have to write. Bariyodu. Very good. Memory. Memory is the 15th kala. Dharana matrika. Why are we writing it down? Because we know if we don't write it down, we will forget. But this 15th kala is dharana matrika. You have to remember. See, I am not a person who would say that, Sanatana Dharma, Indian civilization is the best. Every other civilization and every other country is a hellhole. Those are all bad. No. When you look from a very unbiased perspective, there are a lot of things you can learn from different civilizations. Persian civilization, not the Persia today. They're having different set of problems. I'm talking about the Persian civilization, the Sumerian civilization, the Egyptian civilization, the Huanghu. Lot of nice things. But one aspect of the old Vedic Indic civilization that we all know of, that most civilizations did not give importance to, was memory. Our ancestors said, learn and remember every bit of it. You should remember. Today, technology has helped us in various aspects. Imagine yesterday's lecture may come a month or 2 months later on YouTube. Now, those of you who were not present yesterday will feel, yes, technology is helping me. You don't have to listen to those 2.5 hours at one go. You can listen to them in parts. You don't have to have the pain of watching me, just listening to me. Right? Why do you have to see the video? You can just listen to the audio. That will save a lot of your energy and efforts. So, technology is helping, but at the same time, you don't have to remember phone numbers. You don't have to remember addresses. You don't know anybody's email ID. You don't know the customer care of anyone. You don't know what is the name of the technician who helps you clear that water purifier. You don't know what is your car number. You don't know to when which is the month that you have to renew your insurance. You don't know what is the HRA component of this. Nothing we have to remember, because every day everything is there in the yantram. That is why, very, very sadly, you don't know, for any of us, me, you, anybody, when we all age, Alzheimer's, dementia is getting so common. Why? Because we have not used that memory space at all. It has just been rusted. We have not even galvanized it for a later purpose. So it's just being corroded. So, dharana shakti. Why? Because I'm going to tell you one episode. It's a very famous episode. 1,000 years back, when Bhagavad Ramanuja wanted to come up with an interpretation, a commentary to Badarayana, Vedavyasa's Brahma Sutras, everything you have to remember. I'll ask you questions later. Okay, Badarayana or Vedavyasa's Brahma Sutras, also called Vedanta Sutras, he wanted to write a commentary. But to write a commentary, you should have read the Purvacharya Granthams. And paper and stationery was not prevalent or largely very, very easily available those days. So there was only one copy of the manuscripts of a commentary to the Brahma Sutras by a Maharshi called Bodhayana. This was called Bodhayana Vritti Grantham. And this commentary in manuscript, see, manuscript, they will not write it in large. Today, the teacher says, take the A to the red line and come all the way to the blue line and write, children. You cannot write that way. In one small piece of the manuscript, there will be at least 200 verses. Because stationery was not that prevalent. So you have to inscribe it. So this Bodhayana Vritti Grantham's only copy was in Kashmir, Saraswati Bhandaram, which is the current day Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It was a large library full of manuscripts. So if you have to access, you have to go there. Now Ramanuja had to go there. So from Dakshina Bharata, along with his students, led by one of his very famous students called Kuresha in Tamil, he's called Koorattalvan. Mozhiyai kadakkum perumpugalan, vanjamukkurumbam, Kuliyai kadakkum nam Koorattalvan, Sharan Kudiya pin, says Amudanar, Srivatsa Chinna Mishrebhyo, Nama Ukti Madhimahe, Yaduktayas Kanthe, Yanti Mangala Sutratam. This is invocatory verse. So his primary Sishya, Kuresha, along with his other students following Bhagavad Ramanuja, their Acharya, took a sojourn from Dakshina Bharata to Pakistan occupied Kashmir, 3,000 kilometers for one manuscript. They went. And when Bhagavad Ramanuja entered the jail premises, that time the people who were the security people there asked, it was like a security question these days, Kapyasam Pundarikam, what is the meaning of Kapyasam? Ramanuja knew all this because he was the one who gave explanation. Immediately he said, students, some of them, they will learn the portions what the teacher is going to teach the next day and go. When the teacher asks, they'll know the answer. So similarly was Ramanuja. He knew Kapyasam. He was given access to the library. He took that manuscript, and on their way back, when it was getting evening, he did Sandhya Vandanam. He did Aradhana to his Ishtadevata, and they slept. It was night. See, when there was no power, electricity, beyond 6:37, most activities will stop. People had to sleep by 7:30 or 8. They will wake up at 2 or 3. But with electricity, all the Rameshwaram cafes, I think they run in the night also, right? So we don't have to stop any activity. Slowly, when the birds chirp in the morning, we can sleep. Okay. So the entire process may have changed. But here, Bhagavad Ramanuja, along with his Sishyas, they said, we'll retire to the bed. Next morning, when they woke up at 5, to his shock, that Bodhayana Vritti Grantham, the only manuscript available for which he had to take it up on him as a Herculean task, went missing. Now we will immediately ask, have you digitized? Has it been put on the drive? Nothing. He thought, that's all. How will I comment upon the Brahma Sutras when I don't have the Adhara Grantham? His student Kuresha came. He said, Swami, if you give me an opportunity, can I tell you something? Ramanuja said, tell Kuresha. You slept at about 7:30 yesterday, the previous night. Before you woke up, I read the entire manuscript. I know it from head to toe. Now, after I slept, and between me sleeping and you waking up is where this manuscript has gone missing. Do not worry, I remember every bit of it. Whenever you want, you can retrieve it from me. One entire book was memorized in the middle of the night. That is Dharana Shakti. 10-digit mobile number. 10-digit. See, simple things I'll tell you. You get OTP 6 digits. You will look at that OTP 4 times. Correct? 435360443. What? Again, you look. Correct? Train compartment number and seat number. 10 times you look. When you get inside the flight, you'll be confused whether it's 6E or 6D. Correct? That is our dharan. That is where we have come down. So we'll have to really work on memory skills, how to remember. So that is the 15th kala called Dharana Matrika. Yastu koshastatha dravyam lakshanam keturevacha ityete dharanadeshaha panchanga ruchiram vapuhu. The 16th kala, I told you the first bucket is intellectual art. 16 I said. The 16th is coming to a close. Oshada Siddhihi, about understanding herbs, medicines generally. I'm sure if some of you have had the opportunity to live with your grandparents, your maternal or paternal grandparents who were born in the 1900s or 1910s or 20s or 30s or 40s, if you have managed to live with them for quite a few time, I'm saying a few years, when you fall sick, immediately they will come up with a home recipe. They will never let you go to the doctor at the first step itself. They will immediately find a solution with what is there inside the kitchen. Now, where did this begin? We may call it Ayurveda, we may call it Siddha, whichever way. But solutions, how do we understand from Mother Nature that she can give solutions? This is where we need to go to Brahma's Parampara. Little history there. In Brahma's Parampara, Brahma had a son called Bhrigu. Bhrigu Maharishi. This Bhrigu did a lot of penance to have Mahalakshmi as his daughter. She was born and hence she is Bhrigu Nandini or Bhargavi. Any Bhargavi here? Anybody knows Bhargavi? See, all. Bhargavi means they're all Bhrigu Nandini. Bhrigu's daughter is Bhargavi. Now, Bhrigu had a patni called Khyati. This Bhrigu and Khyati gave birth to a son called Shukra. Sakkire tuppa kaluve arisi Shukravarada pujaya velage. Shukra means bright. He was extremely good. Shukra. He was revered by the others as Kavi or Kavya. So this son was called Shukra, Kavi or Kavya. From then on, Khyati was referred to as Shukra's mother. Isn't that the biggest fame parents should have? You should be referred to by your children's name. That lady Khyati got a name called Kavya Mata. ಯಾಕೆ ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಮಾತಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ? There is one reason. The Shukra, obtaining the blessings of his father, Dash, Bhrigu, he wanted to receive a mantra called Sanjeevani. This Sanjeevani mantra will generally bring even the ICU patient back to life. So the Sanjeevani mantra rested with Shiva, Mahadeva. So he said, Mata, let me learn. Then she asked, didn't you learn from your Acharya? Who is Shukra's Acharya? Shukra's Acharya was Angiras. Angiras had a son called Brihaspati. Sir, yeshtu sir, idu tumba confusing agta ide. There was a rishi called Angiras. Angiras had a son called Brihaspati. Brihaspati's classmate was Shukra. But when there was a tug of war between the sons of Aditi and Diti, the Devas and Asuras, Devas chose Brihaspati as their advisor. Asuras had no choice but to go to Shukra. Though Shukra and Brihaspati were friends, they now started to not look at each other's eyes because of their students. Devas were there, Asuras were there. Now, when Devas and Asuras started fighting, Devas were on the upper hand. Asuras started losing, some of them even dying. That is when Shukra told his mother, the Sanjeevani mantra, if Mahadeva gives me, bestows on me, I will be able to restore these people back to life. Let me go to the forest. He leaves for the forest. That is when the Asuras, understanding that the person whom they had sought asylum under, which is Shukracharya, has already left to the forest, he comes and seeks asylum. They all come and seek asylum at the feet of Shukra's mother called Khyati, also known as Kavya Mata. Now, when he seeks asylum, she says, I can bring death to the Devas by mixing poison in their food. The moment she comes up with such a heinous act, Vishnu Sudarshana Chakra comes and chops her head. Till now you have understood? Now, the moment that happens, Bhrigu Maharishi comes and says, how dare Narayana, though you are Paramatma, Shriyapati, you have killed my wife. Hence, I curse you. When you take a human form, you too will be separated from your wife. This is a sharpam given by Bhrigu on Narayana. Who told you this, sir? In Uttarakandam, this is mentioned by Valmiki. There's a chapter. Till now we have understood. Now Shukracharya comes with the Sanjeevani mantra and then realizes his mother is dead. So Narayana has killed a woman. The same Narayana is born as Rama. When Rama has to kill Tataka, now he's worried. Hey Vishwamitra, this is my first yuddham. If I kill a woman, then Barka will fight. Right? She will keep debating. Then what should I do? Now go back to Valmiki Ramayana. Go check the Moola Grantham. You know what Vishwamitra will say? Kavya Mata Nishudita. Rama, you are asking how you can kill a woman. Hasn't Narayana killed Kavya Mata earlier? Point number 1. Ho gaya. Now, this Bhrigu Maharishi had another wife called Puloma. Puloma and Bhrigu, they lived in an ashrama. Now, what happened to Khyati? Khyati is dead. Now, he is in an ashrama with Puloma. Puloma was pregnant. Bhrigu Maharishi was called by some new party in their house, in that city. They said, please come, Maharishi. So, he had gone there. That time, to this pregnant Puloma, a Rakshasa comes, seizes her and drags her, abducts her. While she stops the Rakshasa from being abducted, she fails in that mission. He pulls her out of the ashrama. As he drags her by the hair on the floor, there is a miscarriage. The child comes out from her womb. That child which slides, that sliding process is called chuti. This child manages to survive. This fetus which has come out in a very, very dangerous fashion, manages to survive. Now that Rakshasa dies looking at that child, because the child is a reposition or repository of penance, tapasya. That Rakshasa is dead. The mother survives, the child survives. Bhrigu Maharishi comes and understands of what all has happened. Now, since the child is born miraculously by sliding chuti, this boy is given the name Chyavana. This Chyavana, who is the son of Bhrigu, performs tapasya to Narayana with his eyes open. See, can you meditate with eyes open? Eyes closed itself, it's a problem. With open eyes, it is tough. But he said, I will concentrate and meditate. He was like a log of wood. So termites built a mound around him. Now, one Raja called Sharyati, he comes along with his daughter and her friends to the forest. This little girl was called Sukanya. She comes running with two blades of grass. Then she finds two structures which are shining like solitaire stones. She thinks these are some miraculous, resplendent stones and pricks them. Blood starts oozing because they were the eyes of Chyavana. So then the father comes and says, what have you done, my daughter? Then they break open that termite hill. That Rishi is calm and composed. He has lost his eyes. But the father says, I have to do prayaschittam. I will get my daughter married to you. So Sukanya married Chyavana. How do you know, sir? See, in Sundarakanda, when Sita says, my fate is so bad, she invokes the name of Pativrata Naris. Dinova Rajyahinova Yo me Bharta Samo Guruhu Sukanya Chyavanam Yatha. Like Sukanya to Chyavana, I am to Rama. She says, makes one mention. Till now you have understood Chyavana and Sukanya. Around the same time, there was one Raja of Ayodhya called Asita. This Asita, so many wives, the first wife was pregnant. The other wives who weren't wanted to kill her. Slowly, they started poisoning her food. She didn't realize, but she found herself very weak. At one point in time, Asita was killed, and when this lady who was pregnant was also to be killed, she escaped to the forest. This lady came to Chyavana Ashrama and said, sir, I feel very weak. That is when he examined her body, Angavidya, and said, slowly you have been poisoned. You are also affected because of this poison. So is the fetus. She said, will I survive or not? He said, do not worry, and asked his wife Sukanya to bring a list of herbs that he wrote down. All those herbs were brought, and he made a paste and gave it to her. That is called Chyavana Prash. That Chyavana gave that Ayurvedic medicine. This boy, this child managed to survive the poison. Gara andre poison. Since he was born with the poison alive, he was called Sagara Chakravarti. This Sagara performs Ashwamedha, then Asamanja, Samshuman, Bhagirata bring water. Because of him, it is called Sagaram, the ocean. Now, I will read out the verse of Chyavana Prasha, then people will say, Adiyallide. I will read. Tasya garo datta purvam sapatnya tu jighamsaya sahate nagare naiva kukshaveva pravardhata bhargavaschyavanastatra namna bhavadachyuta ashrame bhrigu mukhyasya chyavanasya mahatmanah sagaro nama namna tu sagarastena chochyate chyavanah kritavanastasya jata karmadi kriyam Chyavana Prashaha Prayuktastu. Underline the word Chyavana Prashaha prayuktastu vruddhaha san punaryuva. Whoever eats it will become young. Varnaswo swaropetaha sahi. This is like fair and lovely. Varnaswaropetaha means your complexion will become very fair. Whether you want to be that or not is another question. I'm telling you what are the benefits of this. Deeptakaya Agnira Bhavati. Your body will be so. One person ran very fast, right? 10 minutes, 3 seconds. What is his name? Yesterday he ran. Like that, you will also run. Medham smritim kanti namayatvam. One use, when you have Chavana Prash, it says Medham smritim. Your memory will be very good. So this is Chavana Prash. How many of you have not heard this history of Chavana Prash? Very good. Thank you. Now, this is first reference to Angavidya, Ayurveda. Second, during the churning of the Milky Ocean, finally Amritam has to come. Who brought it? Tarunam Buddha Sundarasthadatvam Nano Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari brought Amrita Kalasham. That is why in Ayurveda we call it Panchakarma. They will give you ghee, ghritam. Then they will ask you to vomit. Then they will cleanse the half the system. Then they will clean your intestines. Then they will say Raktamochanam, for which the leeches are required. That is why Dhanavantri will be having a leech in his hand. And the Amrita Kalasham. That is Dhanavantri, Angavidya, for your body to have good health. Third, in the Ramayana, when the Vanaras suffer heavily under the attacks of Ravana, Indrajit, and Kumbhakarna, and when Rama and Lakshmana themselves have swooned, that is when the Garuda Pandita and Jambavan and Vibhishana ask Hanuman to go fetch herbs. Hanuman has never attended a botany class. He doesn't know to differentiate between one kind of green leaf to the other. He doesn't know anything. What is chlorophytum, burivilianum, nothing. No binomial nomenclature he knows. Suddenly they say, Hanuman, go get the leaves. He said, from which shop in Baswangudi, where should I go? You go to Kailasha. Near Kailasha is one hill. In that hill, there are many herbs. Of them, we need 4. And they confused Hanuman. Hanuman was worried. If I take something and they say this is not required, he took the entire hill. So, what are the 4 herbs? Mrita Sanjeevani, Vishalyakarani, Sandhanakarani, Savarnyakarani. These are the 4 herbs. I'll read out the commentary what these herbs are for. Mrita Sanjeevayati iti Mrita Sanjeevani. So, Mrita Sanjeevani means it will restore a person who is close to death. Yama is about to visit him, but he will be back to life. That is Mrita Sanjeevani. Second is Vishalyakarani. If there are arrows or stones thrown at the person, without any pain, that arrow has to be taken. Because when the arrow hits you, it will cause you one pain. When you take it away, that's another pain. So it is like an anesthesia today. It is called as Vishalyakarani. Third, if you have to stitch those places, stitching, it is called Sandhani. Fourth, Savarnyakarani. That place, you go to a plastic surgeon so that you never have that scar at all, right? That is called Savarnyakarani. Tato Varnakritai Vaivarnyam Vihaya Pradeshantara Savarnyam Karoti. What he says is, the other person should not know that I have a scar. So this herb will help me remove that scar. So these were the 4 herbs that Hanuman brought. So Bharata Desha was very well aware of herbs, their uses for the treatment of medical purposes. That is the 16th Vidya called Oshada Siddhihi of herbs. Okay. Now we are going to go to the next set. Very easy set for me. I'm very happy about this. It is called performing arts. Okay. The 17th art is Geetam. So I couldn't think of any other personality but the great M.S. Subbalakshmi, who has to represent in music. Bharata Desham has not begun yesterday or 2 days back. In Vedas, we have delineation of music. In Vedam, unlike the music that we listen today, you don't see so much of variation. Sahasra Sirasa, Purushaha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. So it will just move between 5 essentially 3 out of the 5 octaves. It is called Swaritam, Udattam, and Anudatam. I will read out that verse. Udattascha Anudattascha Swaritav Prachitaustatha Nigatascheti Vigneyaha Swarabhedaschu Panchadha. This is Vedam. But this Vedas and their music laid the foundation to the music that we know today. How do we know? Udatto Nishada Gandharaha. Udattam gives rise to 2 swaras called Nishada, Ni, and Gandhara, Ga. Anuddata Rishabho Dhaivatastada. Rishabaha, Ri. Dhaivatam is Da. See, in some swaras, it is not Daivatam. It is Dhaivatam. So you should say Sare Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa Adi. Dhaivatam, not Daivatam. So Dha. Swarita Prabhava Heto Shadja Madhyama Panchamaha. The first swara is called Shadjam. Why? Shat means 6. After Sa, you will have 6 swaras. The first swara gives rise to the 6. So the first swara is the mother of the 6. So it is called Shadjam. Shadjam, Rishabham, Gandharam. Then you have got till. Then you, to complete that circuit, you use that Sare Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni. It should stop there. You have to complete the circuit. Sa. Why this low and high octave are important? Because each of the Shrutis will vary. For example, let's take the second Pancharatnam called Duduku Gala. The first charanam will be at a low bass. Shri Vanita Hrit Kumudabja Manasa Gochara. Now, if a person has a high pitch, they can touch the upper octave. Shri Vanita Hrit Kumudabja Manasa Gochara. Now, this Sa and that Sa will come together. So, to complete that circuit, you have that in music. Now, the raga structures itself are mathematical. When you read through the Melakarta ragas have to be Sampurna ragas. They should have Sa to all the swaras. But how will you know which raga Melakarta it is? Dhira Shankara Bharanam. Dhi, 9. Ya, Ra, Lava, Ra is 2. Dhira is 92. Vame Ankau, you have to reverse 92. It will become 29. So 29 is the number assigned to Shankara Bharanam. Diametrically opposite will be Mecha Kalyani, where you see the other Madhyamam. Sa, Sarigama Shankara Bharanam Omkara Nadanu Santana Saroja Dalanetri Sa, Sarigama Mavan Sarigama Matu, that is Kalyani. Mannavan Vandanadi Tori Nanu Brova Mani Chapave Vasudevayani Shivakama Sundari Abhayambam Kamalambam Bajare Dayamadoranga Viranavarali Chivo Sarigama Matu Sarigama Mavan Shankara Bharanam. So they will be diametrically opposite. So each of our systems have evolved so well. If you get inside Nadam, that will give you moksham. That is called Nada Tanumanisham. Nada Upasana will give you moksham, says Tyagaraja. In that, how structurally we have brought. Do you know? The second letter of the Pallavi and the second letter of the Anupallavi will be the same. Gutta, Elisa, Teriuma, Malum hai, Elna kya kavindida. Bantu Riti Kolu, Bantu. Leave that ba. Second aksharam, Antu, Bantu. Correct? Anupallavi, Tunta. Unta, second aksharam. Tunta Vintivani Vasudevayani. So every kriti of a Vagekara, the second letter of Pallavi and Anupallavi will be the same. So Geetam has evolved itself so well. So music, I can go on and on. But music without bhakti will not lead us anywhere in Sanatana Dharma. I won't talk about other genres. Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top, I took a trip on a sailing ship. While I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. While I'm sad to say, see, you don't need, essentially, you don't have to do Aradhana down the way where the nights are gay. You don't. But in Karnataka Sangeetam, especially, you should have that focus on the Devata Swarupam. If you recite Kamalambam Bhajare in Kalyani, your mind should go to Tiruvarur, Mooladhara Kshetram. In that, you should have that Murti of Kamalamba. Have you visited Tiruvarur? How many of you have visited Tiruvarur? Very beautiful. So, Tiruvarur is famous for Shiva called Tyagaraja Swami. Okay. See, when I get into music, I don't know when to stop. I'll stop sometime. There is a Kriti by Muthuswami Dikshita on Tyagaraja. It is like a Pascal's triangle. Tyagaraja yoga vaibhavam, agaraja yoga vaibhavam, raja yoga vaibhavam, vaibhavam, bhavam, vam, bhavam, vaibhavam, yoga vaibhavam, raja yoga vaibhavam, agaraja yoga vaibhavam, tyagaraja yoga vaibhavam, Pascal's triangle. So in that temple, you have two sannidhis. One is the murti of that devata, Tyagaraja Swami, called Nilotpalamba. The other one is a yoga murti called Kamalamba. That Kamalamba, if you Google and see, she will be seated in a yogic pose. She would have folded her legs with two legs like this. On her, Muthuswami Dikshita has composed a Navavarana Kriti, 9 Kritis on her. The second, because he begins with Ananda Bhairavi. So here, we have Kamalambam Bhajare. Now, to sing this Kriti, should I be technically correct? Yes. Should I know Kalyani? Yes. Should I know the Talam? Yes. Should I know the composer? Yes. Should I? Beyond that, you should have that bhakti towards that Devata. Kamalapuradana mrudugadanam kamaniya radanam kamalavadanam kamala bhajare. When you sing, you should enjoy that song. So that is extremely important. So that is the 17th kala called as Geetam. Geetam is Swaragam Padagam Chaiva Tatha Layagame cha Chetovadhana Angam Chaiva Geyam Nyeyam Chaturvidham.
Parama Bhagavata Mauni Varasa Shivi Bhakara Sanaka Sanandana Disha Surakim Purusha Kanaka Kashipu Suta Narada Tumburu Pavana Sunu Bala Chandra Dhara Shuka Saroja Bhava Sura Varulu Parama Pavanulu Ghanulu Shashvatulu Kamala Bhava Sukhamu Sadanu Bhavulu Gakayendaro Mahanu Bhavulu. As I'm speaking these divine lines of Sri Tyagaraja Swami, I've received the very divine Onavil of Thiruvananthapuram. This is going to be a grand, a mega Natya production titled Endaro Mahanubhavalu, a festoon of the devout. We have chosen the inspiring events from the lives of 14 Acharyas, Mahans, who have trod Bharata Bhumi. Doddacharya, Adishankaracharya, Vedanta Deshika, Muthuswami Dikshita, Potana, Jayadeva, Andal, Mirabai, Kamban, Tirumalizai Piran, Bhadrachala Ramadasu, Goswami, Tulasidasa, Purandaradasa and Tukara. We have strung it together into a beautiful dance production that is primarily Bharatanatyam based with movements of Odissi, Ghumar and Mohiniyattam, which is going to be multilingual as well, with lines chosen from Sanskritam, Marathi, Brajbhasha, Rajasthani, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, so many languages put together. I've had the opportunity to work with dancers, Natya gurus of great repertoire in the last 15 years. This is an opportunity for me to have curated the production, to have done the storyboard and narrate the production in English. The choreography is by the very famous, revered Kalaimamani Srimati Anita Guha. The music is by the great-grandson of Subramanya Bharati, a Sangeet Natak Academy awardee, Dr. Rajkumar Bharati. And the soundscape design is by Sri Sai Shravanam, one of the contributing engineers to the award-winning Life of Pi movie. We have all come together to present this grand production Endaro Mahanubhavalu in your city. On the 26th and on the 27th of September at the Prestige Center of Performing Arts in Bengaluru, we are presenting this production. On the 3rd and the 4th of October, we are doing it at the Naradagana Sabha in Chennai. On the 1st of November, we are doing it at the Fine Arts Society Chembur in Mumbai. And on the 29th of November at Kamani Auditorium in Delhi. Tickets are flying off the shelves. Please be present, buy your tickets and be with your family to watch this, I would say, once in a lifetime event. We are extremely thankful to the title sponsor, to the event sponsor, to the associate sponsors, and to those hands who have supported us. To the all of you, thank you. To the all of you, Vandanamulu, please be present. Namaskar.